Business is not about the Lord Mayors of our cities and all the dignitaries shaking hands, you know, over the pate in the town halls. It's not about that. It's about ordinary people from both sides exchanging ideas and cultures, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what we're here for.
It's Europe, the future European state, and that's what it's about, like, really, future European Union. Like, an integration will change, like, we're all changed in 10 years, you know what I mean? Things like international community twinnings with areas in similar circumstances is like gotta be a supported thing of the future if you want to like break down the barriers of cultures. And I mean every area has the same problems, doesn't it? People on drugs, crime, fear, bad housing, no like facilities. But like they're doing different things to us and we're doing different things to them. Like the likes of the network idea over there, what they've got going would be like a perfect thing for Dingle. A little organisation who deals with like networking all the community organisations and then settling for like funding as like a united front instead of like as one little thing. So you can only learn from a community twin.
Twinning is like, yeah, but we're making it important to the people. And that's what it's about, people. At the end of the day, Dublin people, Liverpool people.
Nothing brings us down, 'cause we're all safe and sound. This is the place they play, here in our company. Nothing brings us down.
This place is called the Toxteth Community Training Workshop. It's in Newmarket in Dublin 8. An old part of the city called the Liberties.
That's it.
And it's called the Liberties because, I don't know, 1,000 years ago, you didn't have to pay tax here, outside the old city wall. So it's still called the Liberties. And it's an old part of the city, and
Best part of the city.
the best part of the city, but it lost a lot of employment in the last number of years, and things got a little bad. Unemployment problem, and places like this, workshops are set up to help the young people cope with some of the problems that are around between unemployment, schooling, drugs, drink and so on. So we take on boys and girls from age 15 and a half, and they can stay for up to 2 years with us. The 2 years doesn't have to be continuous, and they will. We would have a year's course, and then we would give some types of progression after that. Sometimes it takes people less than a year to do the course. Sometimes it takes them a lot more. There's 40 teenagers here, boys and girls. They do four craft areas in woodwork, light engineering, catering and retail sales. And then there's me, the maths teacher.
Each and every one of us. This includes yourself. And people who love and think and hear about you. Just as you do yourself. Life's an emotional cocktail. The taste is so diverse. Feelings can be felt in the rhythm and the verse. There's a struggle inside for security. In reality, it's outside the door. The world can no longer afford the rich, according to the poor. Something on here that is calling. Something inside that is calling. Change your view of ourselves, expanding into our communities.
After three, 1, 2, 3.
Fergal and I are members of the committee of the Southwest Inner City Network. The committee is, roughly speaking, 8 people who were voted onto committee by the 50 constituent member community groups or community organisations. Each community organisation has a different emphasis. I'm involved in writing, poetry workshops, and I run a government project, which is what we call a FOSS project, employment project for people, 15 people who do 20 hours a week, and they get their payments, their social welfare payments, through the project. Different types of adult education going on in here. You have film production. Drama Foundation is big, that's very popular. There are 50 people enrolled in Drama Foundation. There are Montessori classes. There are people well into their 30s and their 40s sitting their A-levels and their O-levels, or what we call Leaving Certificate again. But education at any level is opened up to people. So you don't need A levels, you don't need O levels to get started in here, and you can get started at any age you want.
I work for an organisation called Community Response, which is a voluntary drugs agency, and we work in the area that's known as the south inner city of Dublin. And heroin is a very large problem in this part of Dublin. And community response would be an attempt to bring together the different sectors, both voluntary, statutory and community, to bring down sectors together and trying to work on the problem. And basically we work out of what we call a community development ethos, which is working with individuals, families and certain communities and helping them to determine their own responses to the drug problem. And by that we mean is that we're not in the business of like many sort of professional services or government services in telling people what's best for them and running programs what we think is best for them. But it's about working with people to build their capacity to take on the problem and then respond accordingly on what their needs are and what best suits them.
We'd like to settle down and find a job to get some cash so we wouldn't rob. If you want to stay away from all of this shite, try and fight with all your might. I get a few quid on the proxy goal, give yourself deeper in a proxy hole. Life without hope is really crap, it's like getting shite on a back.
Well, the community drug team was started up in nearly 4 years ago, Fargo? Yeah, nearly 4 years ago as a response to the drug problem within the area. We're looking for a community-based service for drug users, and through consultation with the community and other groups and that, we got this place up and running with one addiction counsellor at the beginning of it. And basically we've progressed from there. We offer a service to drug users of counselling and group work, and we do alternative therapies, and it's just a safe place for people who have a drug problem.
Really, it's just a start, and you need something to do to kill the time, to keep you straight. And the majority of people want to be trying to get back into society and do something. And everyone wants stuff like that. That's what we were saying, you know, give us some money and hoping to get their centre around in the flats, in the complex, and open it up. And let us, we want to run it, you know what I mean, be part of them. We just want to do our own thing.
You can do a certain amount of courses, you know, FOSS course or whatever you call them in Liverpool, but we call them FOSS courses here. But they just fill a year or whatever, maybe 2. But there has to be something that leads to work, because when you're on drugs, like your self-esteem goes. And self-esteem is something that comes from being able to earn a living. And beyond that, it's like all the rest of it is okay, but it's all about work. We need, it's part of our identity, and if you're not able to earn a decent living, you won't have self-esteem.
Debbie, did we say that these are all people who lived in the community, all friends and relatives?
Alice, maybe say how small the community is, like.
Sorry?
Maybe say just how small the community is in terms of.
This is the third quilt. Well, this is the third quilt. We're working on the 4th one at the moment. 3, 4, and there's, as you can see, there's 16 squares on each quilt. And as far as I know, we have more names, which is very, very sad to put on more quilts. And for a small community like this, to have such a big number is just devastating, I think, within the, you know, such a big number of young people
I think every family in the community has been hit by it somewhere or other. Lost a husband, a wife, a brother, sister, niece, nephew. So no, it's just, as Alison said, it's just very, very sad.
Fortunate thing that what we want to do is really sit down with people from your group that live in an estate somewhere, a council estate in Liverpool, and if we twinned up and then help one another out then, because the amount of European money, for example, 10-15 minutes walk from here, there's an area called Temple Bar, which is about 10 million, 100 million pounds being put into, and we have this community centre that we got £100 started up with. That's where the injustice is. But down 10 minutes down the road, they spent £100 million
from European money.
In European money on a place that makes money. That's one of the most successful places since they opened it. I mean, all the pubs, the clubs, they're making a fortune down there. People in areas like this wouldn't go down for a drink down Temple Bar. Reason being, it's too expensive. You're talking, no matter what party you go into, and then you have people in an area like this. And when you see Bridge Street, you'll know exactly the way. At the present, the Bridge Street group have a fight on for a refurbishment plan, which hasn't even been agreed yet. And when you see the state, the way the people are living over there.
As you can see in front here, that's a new luxury apartment blocks that were put up, named the Maltings, which cost a couple of £1 million. And as you can see just beside you, how 30 yards away, one block can be so luxurious to flats here that are gone uninhabitable. as you can see for yourself.
Liverpool. Liverpool didn't want to just get the chance to say it next year. What happened to United? 3-1. Oh, what happened to Liverpool? 3-1. Who bet United? Who scored? King. Now, take me dog, will you? My dog's famous.
What's his name?
Sally.
Why is he famous?
Because I have her 2 years.
He's an ugly cunt.
Ugliest dog around. Apart from my dog.
Thank you! Yeah. Go on the Reds. Nice one. We're going to win the title this year, I hope. Let me see. Liverpool Dockers. Yeah, go on the Dockers. Go on the Dockers, big time. You know the CK on that t-shirt? Is that changed into D-O-C-K-E-R-S?
No, they're keeping the CK.
Well, it should be. Small D-O, keep the CK the same. Dockers. It's a good idea. I think I'm going to copyright that, sell it, make a few pounds, and give it to the Dockers.
No, Rob down here.
Go on, get in there.
Well, Rob, this is it.
Stuck in, mate.
Doors up, power.
Too right. Go on, get in there.
Inside.
Go and have a scoff, mate.
We've arrived.
Go on, Tom.
I'm going to go and get stuffed with vol-au-vents, mate.
Yeah, mate, go and have a few beers and all. Glasses of wine, whatever.
I'm Right Honourable the Lord Mayor of Dublin, Councillor Brendan Lynch.
My name is Gay Mitchell and I'm Minister of State at the Prime Minister's Office and at the Department of Foreign Affairs.
And is also a former Lord Mayor of Dublin, as I am. I'm Ben Briscoe. I'm a member of the Dáil, the Irish Parliament, for 32 years. And I'm coming up now for my 11th election, hopefully.
My name's Paul Foster. I'm an outreach worker back in the Dingle. I'm also involved with the Objective One process and general capacity building in the community. First question to boys in general is, what does the twinning mean to you, for you, of our two great cities?
Well, I remember when Harold Wilson was here as Prime Minister and Jack Lynch was the Taoiseach here, the Irish Prime Minister. And Harold Wilson said that in his Merseyside constituency he represented more Irish people than Jack Lynch did in his in Cork. So we would see Liverpool as the nearest Irish city to Dublin because it's geographically a little bit nearer than Cork. But we see a lot of traditional links between Ireland and Britain, and particularly between Liverpool and Dublin. But what you're experiencing in Dingle in Liverpool 8, we are experiencing in the Liberties in Dublin 8. And I have an idea that when we see that we both have similar problems, we will find that we both have similar causes of those problems. And by pooling our information, we can tackle those problems more beneficially.
The general idea is that Dublin and Liverpool community cultural exchanges, and that's supported by the partnership, but there's an obligation on Dublin Corporation, because one has got to remember that it was Lord Mayor Frank Jordan of Liverpool and myself as Lord Mayor of Dublin signed the agreement in Liverpool and in Dublin, and we've got to realise that we have to take our staff. It shouldn't always depend on the major agencies to do everything, and that's what's happening here. That we've got Dingle, Liverpool 8, Dublin, Liverpool 8, and we've got bodies coming together. And I expect that we will see a lot of Liverpool people coming to Dublin and vice versa.
Knowing that we are officially twinned, what support the statutory bodies, etc., will be given to these community groups? In what way will it be helping them? Will it be in financial assistance, or, and I don't mean bail them out with things, just like what ways like that? You know what I mean?
Well, could I maybe kick off on this one and say that we have a local development program here where we have partnership companies in each of the designated areas of the country, 38 designated areas where the areas are designated as disadvantaged. And in those partnership companies, we have integrated plans involving supplementary education, training, environmental improvements, job creation, and estate management for better living conditions. And I would hope that the partnership company, which is based in each of those local development areas, will be supportive and give every advice and assistance and encouragement that they can. Now, SWICN, the Southwest Inner City Network, have applied for minor funding, and we may be able to give them some assistance financially in that way. So I hope through the partnership companies and through whatever financial assistance we can give, that we will be of assistance to them. But I also think that the local authority has an important role to play in community development, and that they would get in behind this whole idea.
We have probably one of the largest volunteer corps of people anywhere in the world here, not just in the inner city of Dublin, but in Ireland generally. Irish people are very giving of their time generally, and we have this city, and we need to know how to tap this resource and back it up with professional advice by getting people from private industry involved, as well as at government level with the civil servants also having an input and guiding the whole thing along. But we are making big progress.
Yeah, it's most important to realise that when Mayor Frank Jordan and myself signed the agreement, it committed Dublin Corporation here and, of course, Liverpool City Council to facilitate community and cultural groups. Now, in this respect, one has got to say thanks, Swigan, for organising this cultural exchange and yourselves. But it's great to see that there's a giant magazine now called 8, and that is a magazine that shows that the initiative and the commitment you people have. But that has to be backed up, and as rightly said by the Minister mentioned here, the government, but he said we give some help. But as the people who signed the agreement with Dublin Corporation and Liverpool, Dublin City Council and Liverpool City Council, they're the people that must be committed and must help.
I would hope that the sort of exchange that you're promoting would help us just to realise that we're all human beings living in different cities but with many of the same problems, and that by pooling our resources we can tackle those problems more effectively. You will have experiences that we can learn from, and we will have experiences that you can learn from. I think in particular our partnership approach, which involves the social partners as business and trade unions, the local community itself and the statutory agencies in a partnership company designated to deal with a designated area with an integrated plan to deal with that from the ground up, tackling disadvantage. I think you could learn from that, and we could probably learn from other things that you've done. So I think that a lasting effect of these exchanges could be that we would actually pick from each other's brain the best of both cities, and therefore enhance the fight back which we're both trying to bring about against disadvantage and the causes of disadvantage.
The Minister's talking about hospitality, it's how people in Liverpool and Dublin have got to get on, and then refuses entry to a large percentage of the project into his building, what we're discussing at the moment. He left as a protest. Thank you.
I've just been sitting there and listening to the main man go on about hospitality between Dublin and Liverpool people. So it's the same again, isn't it? It's only hospitality between normal, real people. Because we never got that off any of the people that we work with. Only off these people who live in all this. And while I'm at it, it's fucking working class people that built the building in the fucking first place. And it should be working class people that rip it down.
And I've got something to say as well. Just had a good crack on with so-called theatre group. Lovely, start talking about theatre. Next thing they're on about the coloured people moving into Ireland, taking social welfare and taking jobs, and I'm pretty fucking sick about that.
Great time there. We give it a little song and a dance, and a good little talk to Guy. He was a nice fella. I didn't know what I'd done outside, but we've had a great time. He treated us very nice.
Good,
we met some lovely people as well.
Yeah.
All in all, I thought it was a very productive time, and it was an honour. I personally felt it was an honour to come to such a beautiful building as this, and to be able to meet Guy one-on-one, and he listened to what I had to say, and we had a good talk, Thanks very much. Thanks for being here. It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure.
This is an original Liverpool knotweed flute played outside Leinster House. And that's an accomplishment by David Sweeney for his mother.
Good one, Dave.
And his father.
Yeah, every day this week there's lunch in the Nicholas and Moore, which is a centre not too far from here. You know where it is, we were down there before. And there's lunch served there every day till Friday, right? And it starts at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So even today, when you go and visit the projects at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I can Liam can meet just there to bring us off to St. Audience then, whatever group is going on that. It's the best meeting point.
The centre itself was set up in 1988, right? Because at that time, jobs started becoming scarce in the area. There's a tradition of manufacture, but all the Winstanleys and Jacobs and all those factories started to close down. And a group of local people got together and decided, right, we have to do something about this, and hence they opened their first office here, which was an information centre, giving people information about their social welfare entitlements, And then they decided, well, we had to start lobbying and start getting things done about jobs. So in came the research element of the centre, and they set up like a placement whereby they start getting in touch with local businesses and saying, start taking on local people. At the moment now we have 12 full-time workers and 14 people on a CE scheme. In this office here we do administration, we do people's CVs, any letters and stuff that has to be written. Our research end of work happens here. At the minute we're researching into what are the blocks and barriers to unemployed men taking up education and trade, and that'll be finished by the end of June, and we hope to have a seminar to launch that report and start lobbying the government to start actively doing something to change that, you know, to make employment and education accessible to men. We also run an annual information event whereby all the different organisations that you're probably meeting as you're going along around here came together under the one roof in Guinness's. And we invited the public in, so the public come in and they actually wouldn't just get information on employment, they'd get information on all the different courses and training and different stuff that was available for them. We had the president there to launch that for us last year. In the crèche, okay, well, the staff that we have there on community employment scheme, with the community employment scheme, there's an allocation of £300 for them for the first year that they're here. Some of the girls have gone to the Liberties College to do the NCVA childcare course. Then on our management committee we have one of the teachers from the Liberties College, and he's just done a child development course with all the staff in it, because a lot of our staff, the full-time ones, are qualified, so they've qualified either in Montessori or the NCVA or different types of childcare. I'm not very familiar with all of them, okay? And the next stage of that course then they're going to do how a child develops educationally. So that was just child development, so the education bit is the next step on that. Then we have students on placement here with us from the Liberties College, and they're doing their work experience here in the crèche and attending the college as well.
Hello. Hello. What's your name then?
Gareth.
Gareth?
Yeah.
Are you having a nice time?
Yeah. I love you, you love me, we're a happy family with a great big corner. You supposed to say you love me too.
All the staff that work here are local people. All the children here are from local unemployed people who have either returned to work, education or training. So there would be people that would have been registered with us across the road in the centre, have gained employment or a training course or gone back to school, and their children come here.
Thank you. Thank you.
d'accord, et d'accord, et d'accord, et d'accord, et d'accord, et d'accord, et d'accord, oui d'accord, et d'accord, et d'accord, et d'accord, et d'accord. What feeling of a lifetime, another color celebration, and in the search for a solution, we're gonna choose the revolution. Et d'accord, et d'accord. Et d'accord, 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 et d'accord. Thank you. Thank you very much. Much obliged.
Swickenby formed about 2 years ago, and it was formed because community workers and community workers and the community groups themselves seen that there has to be an umbrella group for representation purposes. The small groups need representation. The unfortunate thing about small groups, they're not listened to. So the network actually gives them that profile. It's a good political baton to use. Like if an individual, if you had it probably coming out to one of the smaller groups, this possibly wouldn't have been in the CST even. The Lord Mayor wouldn't be paying his lip service. It's that, but because it represents adding up to 30,000 people, the area, there's 50 groups in it. There's one mistake that we have made as community groups is that when we have got funding for jobs, people who are doing it on a voluntary basis, we've overlooked them. For people with third level education, you must have certificates such and such and whatever. But these jobs were being done by people in their community. I'm very protective of what we do get in, that we retain within our community structures. These jobs have been done for nothing for years by volunteers, people who are capable of doing these jobs. But when the actual funding became about, community groups looked elsewhere. They felt that they hadn't got the competence or the capabilities to actually manage money. So they brought people, they set these criteria to employ people as community development officers or whatever, but you must have such and such qualification. So we became the enemy to ourselves then, And we also put wages on these jobs. Astronomical. You know, some people in community work are getting paid ridiculous wages. There's enough wages for 2 people who are doing the job voluntary and to do it twice as well as the person that earns a wage, they're not living in the community.
So
they buy a house outside the community. So that even we're losing the money even to within the community. We're creating a monster.
If you're from outside an area and you've got someone from your community, from the community you're working in, working alongside you on a mentoring scheme, shadowing you, they're going to be pulling you up saying, hold on, I'm from round here, and if you do that, it's not really going to go down that well. So it's a two-way education. It's not just benefiting the person who's shadowing, it's benefiting the person who's actually supposedly teaching the person who's shadowing. Say Brian to work with the administrator, or somebody to work with me for a year or 2 years and getting paid that living wage. So they learn the skills when these people do one, which inevitably they will, because once the funding's run out, they're not going to stick around in a dog-bitten community like ours. You know, they're going to be off straight away. And what we need is our own people who are in a position to just right, we'll go in and sort that out ourselves.
Because of the paid element, that's a monster you're creating. The people from your community say, well, that person's getting paid 30,000, I don't have to do this. So you get communities lying back waiting for things to be done for them, and that's the danger. If communities stop and sit back,
stop what they traditionally do,
there's nothing going to be done. They're just going to be left sitting there in the squalor.
If our people have come from the area, which they're going to be developed when they go back, they're going to have more inputs in the area because of the experiences here, and plus they're going to set up the cycle of the return, and just all the little networks that could get going as pure community development.
If this twinning process takes place and gains momentum, is that we're not used as lip service by anybody, whether politically or statutory bodies. I'm not longer being used as lip service by any group, and that's possibly the strength of Swicken and the actual networking, is that you're representing so many groups and so many people that there's a fear, because it's like Labour's in, even with a large majority in Britain, they have to fulfil the promises or else they won't be there long. That's a fact of life, and we're having an election very shortly. I'm Fianna Gael supporter. I'll lick arse up to Fianna Fáil if they're the government, but I'll lick arse them, but I won't be used by them. I'll use them the way they've constantly used communities. They have to fulfil the promises. Who don't fulfil them, you slap them.
Oh.
This is Lorna.
And I'm Dennis Taylor, of course.
My name is Ken McHugh, and I'm the cultural officer for the Dublin and City Partnership, of which Swicken is an integral part. There's an historical debt to be paid back by the people of Dublin to the people of Liverpool, because as far back as the famine, particularly in the 1847, where you had 100,000 people travelling to the port of Liverpool, it was Liverpool who took in the Irish emigrating from the country and from the city. As near as 1913, when the lockout was on here in Dublin, where the trade union movement incidentally was led by a Liverpudlian, Jim Larkin, it was again the Liverpool people who rallied to the cause of the trade union movement, and they sent over a food ship to the starving people in the city, and also adopted for a short period of time children. We sent children over for holidays for a break away from the deprivation of the city at the time. So I feel that we need to pay back that debt, and there's different ways of paying it back. We don't have the financial resources to actually to pay back what's owed, but we do share a very rich resource in terms of culture and community, and by linking people in the form of citizen diplomacy, we can actually build bridges together.
The whole issue of the return trip to Liverpool, from our point of view, is that the Dublin Corporation, you see, sometimes you're talking to somebody, or we've wrote them a huge letter outlining exactly what went on for the week, and outlining exactly what our request was as part of that process for the week, right? So, I mean, what I said earlier on about you know, the Dublin Corporation being sort of like institutionalised and no decision making. It's all coming from the one quarters. There's no dissemination of information in their own organisation about anything. And then this guy who's supposedly like looked at this letter and the information that he's been sent on the network and gets on the phone to sort of like just push it aside, right? And in actual fact, they're getting money from the European Union, as we discussed the other day, for this, and Liverpool Council are. And in their own document, I don't know if everybody in the group's seen it, but I mean, there's copies of it here, and there's one showing some in Liverpool. And the two Lord Mayors signed it and shook hands on the managers of each council. It says quite clearly in it what it's supposed to be about, and it's for community participation, and they will try and facilitate community groups, and also that exchanges of culture and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you have a bloke telling you, you know, this thing's had been signed and sealed and delivered, you know, and if somebody's a senior member of the management team telling you, well, no, you know, that's like a little play group down the road looking for £100 to put a new swing up or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you're trying to tell them like you're working on the whole area. It's a huge joint venture, even from the community perspective. You know, to organise so many people involved that's not even getting paid for it.
Dublin Corporation gave the excuse that they've too much on their plate, and even councillors said to me, look, why Liverpool, you know? And I said, well, if I have to explain to you, you know, there's no. And they said things like, what about Bermuda, you know? And one councillor said to me, Liverpool, it rains all the time at our. And I said, that's Manchester. You know what I mean? And there was this really negative vibe right from the very beginning. And literally, when Brendan Lynch became Lord Mayor, because he was came from the community sector, we knew that, you know, that he, like he's limited in terms of his executive power and that, but fair play to him, he did push it. And but the officials really are the ones. There's no will at all, goodwill at all there. In fact, when the twinning leg, the Dublin twinning leg, the agreement was being signed, they hadn't a clue who to invite. I asked Dick Spring, who's the Minister for Foreign Affairs, did he know about it, and he was surprised that he hadn't been invited. He wasn't informed, and he's the Minister for Foreign Affairs. I spoke to Mary Robinson, the President. She was unaware of the twinning, although she had been to Liverpool and received a doctorate from Liverpool University, and she has a real love for the city, and she's going back there. I also found out that they never sent an invitation to the British ambassador, and then she was certainly surprised that she didn't get it. So really, it was a Mickey Mouse affair, as we call it in Dublin, and it was sort of. For anybody that was at the ceremony, it was sort of get it over and get them out again, you know. And we set up an organisation called Liverpool Dublin Community and Cultural Exchange, which is to cater for the exchanges and coordinate the exchanges. Now, Dublin Corporation refused to recognise, you know, Dublin Corporation refused to recognise us, despite the fact that the two main patrons are the Lord Mayors of the city, of both cities. Some people have rung up the Dublin Corporation and they've been told, oh yes, an inner city group did try to get something going, but it hasn't really worked out, you know. And that's the kind of response. So anytime we want information about what's happening in Dublin, we contact Frank Doran's office in Liverpool. And to be fair to Alan Wignall, who's the man in there, he's given us all the information on what's happening, and he's been a great help.
Like, why go to the bother of having a big all the city councillors and ceremony? I mean, it sounds strange to me. Unless they're getting something out of it for themselves.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, this is it. I think it is selfish. I think that they discovered a pot of gold somewhere in Europe, and I think they want to keep it to the city council. I don't think they want to share it. Liverpool are a little bit more flexible in so far as that they can filter money down by giving you, say, commissions to do things and involving you in the basically information exchange. But over here, there's a complete sort of blackout. There's a cone of silence being drawn over it in the city, and we find it really difficult to operate. And despite the fact that we've got 20 patrons who in the arts, people in the universities. We've got senior professors in universities. We've got some heavyweights, and including the Mary Benotti, the MEP, the member of the European Parliament. And despite that, they still haven't responded to us. There is money there for A lot of money would be spent to send officials to Liverpool and councillors to Liverpool and that. But there and receptions and stuff, you know. But there is money there for seed money for it. And we've actually, the organisation we set up has an account in Dublin and one in Liverpool. And like we're as I said, like with the patrons that we have, we're now embarking on a process of fundraising to facilitate these exchanges.
Taught me is that, like, you know, with the Southwest Inner City Network, we need something like that because our partnerships aren't representatives, our structures aren't working because they're not. I think they're set up to fail. I think the whole objective one thing has been a serious embarrassment for our government. We couldn't see Europe working in Liverpool. They just didn't want it because it's a massive admission of failure on their part. So I think that's why you have all the different drivers, that's why you have all the different fucking layers and filters between the communities and the money. You know what I mean? Whole tiers of bureaucracy. The tragedy is they're getting away with it. They're getting away with saying that the structures are representative. They are partnerships. If you've got two partners and one's a government and one's a job seeker from Liverpool 8, you know what I mean? How equal is that relationship going to be?
A few years ago when the network was originally formed, that in the words of James Connolly, you're kind of weak because you're on your knees. But we were weak because we were all fighting our own little corners. What I feel has happened is we've come together because we know if we speak in one voice and we ask for millions instead of these small grants, we have a better chance by a block of us doing this. Because politicians, especially in an election year, they have to listen to us. It's as simple as that. But we have to make it, which is more important, the people who are going to go out and vote, listen to what we have to say. And then listen to the response of the politicians. And like what you said about this partnership being very, very unequal, that's no different for us. The only difference is we recognise it and we're trying to tip the scales in our favour by getting organised.
Made Safe's been all about bettering ourselves and all clicking together as a group to, you know, make a lot of people impressed with what we're doing. And the situation I feel at the moment is that we've done that and we've made a lot of people happy with what we're doing. Not just the gigs like playing the music and whatever, the workshops as well.
Yeah, I've had a boss time, it's been brilliant. All the staff were dead kind and we just had a laugh. Yeah, it's laughing, kid.
Boss loved it. Best holiday I've been on. Best crew of people to go down with. Pure buzz, like.
And you learn off all of them, whether it's good or bad. This week I've, you know, as usual, learned things about how to work with people. About how not to work with people.
There's been problems, there's been fun, there's been heartache and there's been joy. Dublin was just like Toxteth, really. Dingle. It was just a reflection of the same place, same problems, same people. Different accent, that was it. The only thing that divided us.
People and all that were just brilliant. Well,
it's been very hard, you know. It was a long hard slog. I've had a good time because I've been with good people.
Janine's gone, I think it's boss. My name's Gemma Carter and I've had a laugh. It's been boss, Laura. See you later.
Good day, you know what I mean? Celebrate the Dingle Festival and all that.
See you later.
All the stalls and all the community groups that are being involved in it, you know, community unity, that's what's being good about it. And like, I suppose a little bit of a celebration day for the Dingle in general, like.
They're trying to keep me down, trying to keep me underground, and they're thinking that they got the battle won. I say forgive and love, you know that's what they've done. And as sure as the sun will shine, I'm gonna get my share of what's mine. Ooh yeah, holiday, holiday fall, all
It's driving me insane. Afraid if I ain't locked down, I won't be around. Just call me collect. Hey, so we can get back to it. Call me direct. Oh, all night long. Call me collect. Hey, so we can get back to it. Call me direct. Oh, all night long. When things were going wrong, I just could not see, yeah. How am I to carry on in this lonely world? After all I said to you, can't you feel my hurt? Call me direct, hey, so we can get down to it. Call me direct, oh, all night long. Call me direct, hey, so we can get down to it. Call me direct, oh, all night long. I've been sitting here waiting by the phone. Break it down, I've been searching for a perfect girl for me. If you want my love,
who my friend, keep it nice. Who the next to be the I can't the one that unbelievable.
Today's brilliant. Yesterday, the Dingle Festival was absolutely fantastic. It's like growing its third year, and they're like it's the people turning up from all over, all over the city really, and everyone having a good time together. And it's just so brilliant seeing the kids having a good time like today. All the bands on and the kids doing the things. I think there should be more of this going on all the time. Let's have a festival every weekend.
We got the style like this. Negative to positive, break it away from the negative to positive. Negative to positive, break it away from the negative. Away from the, break it away from the negative to positive, break it away from the negative. Come on, to positive. What negative to positive, break it away from the Rex. Come on.
the fat shots, show them not stop. Watching the books, you wanna furrow my brain. Maintain lower ranks, lose you believe. Hey Sloppy, what's your name, Toby? When you shit slow, you shake it when you show me. Check it, you got coke on you by the road. One time with original freestyle. Get a wild, be that you tough, scientific fact. One time for your mind, you don't relax. Negative, the positive, one time for your mind. Relax and you will find the truth out here. Like the X-Files, lyrical child, want to get wild with TL. Positive, take it away from the negative. To positive, how you look from negative. To positive, take it away from the negative. Positive, how you live from the negative. To positive, take it away from the negative. To positive, how you live negative. To positive, take it away from the TL got the next lyric. One time for your.
It's good to be in the park and to have music, food, laughter, and kids running around. So I think we should have more days like this.
It's just loads of different types of people having a laugh, enjoying themselves, different cultural things going on. Not just one type of thing. It's great.
Yeah, I've come all the way from Brazil and I'm here in this festival and it's really nice. I'm having a very good time. Well, there are all kinds of people here, different bands, different music styles.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. The best thing about it is that everything's free. The kids can't believe that apparently, but it's been a good turnout.